This episode of Twin Speaks contains spoilers.
I'm always letting everyone down. I'm always letting everyone know I'm down. I'm always letting everyone down. I'm always letting everyone know I'm down.
I'm walking. Hey, forget about it.
There actually is a crosswalk over there.
Yeah, a what? A
Crosswalk?
croissant?
Yeah, croissant. There's a small Dutch bakery over there.
I had a guy who was biking like I was coming down Pandora. And he was biking on the wrong, like there's literally a bike lane on Pandora. And he was biking on the opposite side of the road.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had to like slow down behind him to like pass him. And as I passed him, I kind of like pointed over my truck at where the actual bike lane was, and immediately he flips me off. And I just kind of like didn't, like I waved my hand outside. I was like, whatever. And then immediately he like gives me the peace sign.
Oh,
Flips me off. I wave my hand. He goes, peace, man.
truce. Yeah.
And then I stopped because I now I'm in my car going, oh, what the fuck? And then he starts, and then he like leans back, takes both hands, and then starts waving peace like this, like again like this, waving his peace hands around.
Peace hands.
And it was like one of those things where, okay, I don't really know if you're angry or not, but you were the one that flipped me off. Like again.
And you weren't even like, you were only just pointing at.
I literally
The
just pointed
bike
over the top of my
lane.
car to be like, the bike lane's that way, pal. And that was it.
The beaches over there.
Beaches this way.
Was he wearing a helmet?
No.
Ugh.
But he had like a huge goatee.
Oh.
No.
So his face was covered, but his head wasn't.
Now I'm starting to imagine. I don't know if I remember what he looks like. In my head, he had a bandana that was like covering the top of his head, and like aviators, and then a goatee. But I don't think that's actually what he
He
looks
had
like.
clear glasses.
No,
He
aviators.
had a copy of Infinite Jest.
Aviators.
Aviators.
Jest.
David Foster Wallace.
Sensible chuckle. Yeah, there was like a bunch of those Warzone things.
Of
Not that you
updates?
play. No, there was like teasers.
Oh, yeah. So they want to get rid of like the stadium, right? Or you can go into it now.
Not yet.
Wasn't that the thing you were telling me?
It's next season.
Oh,
So
next
it's like still in
okay.
season 4, and they're saying it's season 5.
Yeah, right.
They sent these like videos to like random streamers.
What?
They they sent like a giant rook, like a chess piece, to these people, and then like in the bottom was like a USB drive,
Right.
and then each of them got like a different one. See, they like show the USB. It's like some dumb video where it's like the first one was just a train. And like the fact that people are like losing their minds about it.
Oh,
too.
so like
They're
someone,
like, hey, look, a train is,
and then
there's
like
a train.
they share it, so then you can like connect through all the other ones, like so you can actually see through all the different pieces that people have gotten.
Sort of. You may as well just watch it
Nah, I'll watch it later.
because you don't care.
Yeah, I want you to
No,
explain
it's not.
it to me.
Well, I don't really care either. Like, it's because you don't play, so you don't like, you're not like worried about it or anything.
I'm worried.
Concerned.
Yeah. Optimistically concerned.
That's
A made up thing I just came up with.
optimistically concerned.
Yeah.
How does that even work? How can
I'm
you be
like-
optimistic about
I'm
the
like-
level of concern that you have?
I'm excited about it, but
You're excited about how
But,
upset you're gonna be.
yeah. Yes, there you go.
I am really happy that I'm gonna be mad later.
Optimistically angry.
yeah, sorry. Optimistically frustrated.
Yeah.
I am really excited about how annoyed I'm gonna be at you.
Over this entire thing.
Yeah. Did you watch anything?
Yeah, I watched. Do you know what's funny? We went to Pick a Flick. Got a couple movies there.
I'm
You'll
waiting for
never
this to be
guess.
funny.
Well, because the movies that we got were like. Do you remember that? See if you can come up with a name for it. Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale. It's in a dragon movie.
Yeah, Rain of Fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, suck a dick.
Okay.
Yeah. What about
It was great.
Is it? I don't think it is.
No, it's not. But objectively, it's not. But I loved it.
I think there's like a soft spot for it.
Yeah,
There's a
because-
bit where Isn't what's his face? Shoot, what's his name? Gerald.
Yeah, Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler's in it.
Yeah, he's in
he's
it.
quite young, and like they're reenacting scenes from Star Wars, and they like convince them that they made it up.
You remember a lot more of that than I would.
I watched a video. It was like a review of it,
Oh,
like recently,
really?
like super recently, like a week ago.
Why?
I don't know. It was like I like this one channel.
Oh, okay. I just watched it because we were like
It was
looking
the
at.
same reason I watched Pacific Rim and then tried to watch Transformers.
Yeah, that's right. You were telling me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then I saw that one. It was like the Caravan of Garbage or whatever for Transformers.
Yeah. So they did one for Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire was so funny. Yeah, he's like they're doing the Star Wars thing. He's like, and then they're like calling out for different movies that he's like enacted, or they're like acting out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But Matthew McConaughey, he has like an axe
Yeah.
through the entire thing. Doesn't use it once.
Doesn't he use it at the very
He
end? He tries to
tries.
jump off a building, gets eaten by a dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That's the only time.
Don't they not figure out how to kill the dragons? Well, the sequels come close.
Well, they do because he's like.
They like flashbang it. No, they throw fire at it. No, wait, what? How do they kill it?
Well, the entire thing. He's like, oh, we just gotta blow him up. That's it. And it's like, what? How?
Didn't they like nuke the?
And
Earth?
then, then at the end of it, he's like, they find like the bowl, the one where
call
it's
it?
the bowl.
That's what
So
they
it's
call it.
The what?
The bowl.
Yeah. The like
Bowl?
the bowl.
I just realized you say bowl weird. You're saying it like bowl of soup.
Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah.
POWL.
How do you distinguish between bowl as in a cow and
I don't know. I'm having kind of an existential moment right now. I don't know how you just. They sound the same.
bow bow
Bowl.
bow or a
Bowl.
buell.
What?
A buell?
What's that?
That's a bowl, but you're
Uh,
more phonetically, I guess.
yeah. Bowl.
Nah, I can't
No.
do it.
Bowl. Bowl.
Anyway.
Bowl. Ball. Anyway, I don't remember what you're talking about. Bull. The bull dragon.
Yeah. And he's like, then he figures out that you can
The dragon with testicles.
He figures out you can just like shoot it in its like throat with like an explosive arrow.
Oh. I feel like
he's
that would
just like-
kill. Wouldn't that
well,
kill most
at
people?
one point he's like use our crossbows and we'll shoot them with the arrow with the explosive on it. It's like, where the fuck did these crossbows come from? The entire movie you don't have them,
Yeah.
and you have an axe, and then at the end he's got like 3 crossbows. It's like,
But
what
didn't they literally nuked them? Didn't they? Isn't that why the Earth looks the way it is? They like dropped.
No,
a
they did that. The dragons did that because the dragons need
I thought-
ash to live.
Oh.
They eat ash
and people.
and people, but like so they just burn everything to shit and then they eat that.
They eat ash.
Yeah, that's the entire thing. Because there's like a bit where a dragon like chases.
I don't remember any of this movie.
A dragon chases a whole bunch of these people and it into like an orchard, and they're like harvesting the apples and stuff. Oh, no, the tomatoes.
On trees?
It's not even like an orchard. It's like it's whole rows of tomatoes, and they're like taking the tomatoes off and just eating them.
Ah,
It was like really gross. It was like that scene from
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. And he's like
eating, like, the
eating
cherry tomatoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the dragon comes and like burns it, chases the people out, but then leaves the people and eats like the burnt shit.
Oh.
And he's like, "Oh, he didn't even want us."
That's so uninteresting.
It's like
They're like, oh, how do you make it like cool? How do you make dragons cooler than they actually are? Let's just make them eat ash. Why? Like, that's so uninteresting.
Pikachu pops up.
Yeah.
I might cut that one out.
I thought about it too, but then I was like, it doesn't really work.
Well, they couldn't even figure out how to say it.
Pikachu. Fuck.
But then like the entire thing, it's like the fucking dragons are trying to chase them anyways.
Right.
But they're like, oh no, they only want Ash. It's like,
So they want an ashy human.
Yeah, basically. And then they mostly leave him alone, and then like the big bull one comes over and starts like destroying everything.
Right. You said it fine there.
I'm not gonna do it again. But yeah, then I mean, I liked it. It was sick. To be honest, like the CGI and stuff in that movie was great.
Sick. Yeah.
It's really good. There's like bit where the Archangel people are like flying through the air. They like dive out of helicopters and like guide them.
And they trying to like net the
they like throw nets over like the wings or something. That bit was sick. Because the guy just gets eaten and he's like, come in! Come in! And he's like, he's not answering. He's like, yeah. And they show this like little radar and it goes bing, 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 bing. And it disappears and it shows him crashing into the planet or the Earth.
The planet.
And then there's like two other guys and you see his like little blinker. It goes bing, 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 bing. And then it goes like smashes into the Earth. And then the other guy just like floats away. Oh. But they don't like, it doesn't show him floating away. It just shows him like his little area is still blinking in one spot, but then it shows like his trajectory was going to be right in the same spot as the other guy.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I watched that, and then we watched fuck now, what was it called? Oh, Air. Have you ever seen Air? That's that one with Robert Kirkman. Do you remember him?
Like the author?
Yeah. So he didn't direct it, he wrote it, this movie called Air, and it's with Norman Reedus and Digimon Hansu, I think is how you say it. And we didn't look up whether or not it was supposed to be good or not. We just like got it because it sounded cool.
Yeah.
Just like reading off the back.
It came out like a while ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it came out a little while ago. To be honest, like the concept of the movie was really cool. Like the whole thing is just like that.
It's a time where breathable air is non-existent and most of mankind has been wiped away. Two engineers must find a way to preserve air for the near future as they struggle to keep calm through it all.
Yes.
You were really dancing around what it was, and I was like, I'm not waiting for this.
Yeah. It got like 12% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I didn't know that until like afterwards. Because we watched it and it was like fine. There's a lot of like, you know, obvious like weird written bits.
Right.
Like you can tell that the dialogue was written almost in a way not for movies.
He didn't write it though, Robert Kirkman.
How was he involved then?
He produced it.
That was it? I know his like little logo shows up in the beginning.
Yeah, it just says written by Christian Misa and Chris Passetto.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I'd say it wasn't. The dialogue definitely wasn't written like as a movie dialogue. You know what I mean?
Oh, weird.
Like it was like just very stunted.
Okay, yeah.
And so like everybody would be like, I don't know, like, hey, make sure you check the vital signs. Yeah, I did check the vital signs.
Oh.
It's like...
Maybe that's more of a direction thing then.
Maybe. It was... Honestly, it was... you don't focus on it as much because the acting was so good. Yeah. And that's the reason that I enjoyed the movie, was because it was so well acted, I think.
Right.
To the entire thing. Like, Norman Reedus is great, and then Digimon Hansu is, like, really, really good, too. Like, he was the best part of that movie, I think.
What, Digimon?
Yeah. Like, he's so good. He's like...
I really like him.
Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yeah, I don't care.
He, like, sees his wife. He's, like, seeing her through the entire thing because it's just him and Norman Reedus. And so he's, like, seeing her all the time and he's, like, talking to her. And Norman Reedus is like, who the fuck are you talking to? He's like, oh, nothing. So they're maintenance guys. So they're, like, taking care of this. It's, like, an underground bunker, but they have all these people in sleeping pods everywhere. So their job is just to like wake up every once in a while, make sure everything's running fine, clean up a little bit, and then go back to sleep.
Right.
Because they don't have that much air. So they have like this little timer kind of in Lost. They have like the ticking down thing. So it's like but then he'll wake up and he's like doing the readings and he's checking everything, but then he'll like see his wife and she'll like start talking to him and shit. So the entire thing is like him progressively like giving in to what he's hearing from her in a way. And then Norman Reedus becoming more and more agitated by that.
Right.
And suspecting that something's going on. So then it turns into like they have to, you know, there's like a fire starts in these like little sleeping chamber things. And it's like, just looks like a shower curtain, but he like lays down and they pull it over him. And a fire starts on it, so they have to go and find another one. So they go into like different parts of the actual base to go and find all these things. And then he's like looking around and it's all creepy and they're finding like dead bodies and like people that were like climbing through the vents and stuff. And they thought that nobody was ever around. And like the more he's looking through all this stuff, like they find even like there's a bit of the bunker where they thought they were underground because they don't know where they are through the entire thing. They just know that they're in this bunker and they're supposed to take care of everything. And then they get to a spot where like the roof is caved in and he's literally like on the surface.
Oh.
So he like pokes his head out. He's wearing like the suit and he pokes his head out and he can just see the entire like landscape and everything's wiped out. It's just all ash.
Oh, weird.
So he kind of like realizes like, oh, okay, well, literally they've got like this board. It's like cork board and it's full of pictures of all their families. And Norman Reedus has gone and put dead on everybody's picture as like a joke. But then he's like, oh no, everybody is dead. There's literally nothing out there.
Oh, weird.
So it's like the realization that his wife might be dead. So anyway, so like they go and find the shower curtain thing, and then he goes and puts it on the bed, and then Norman Reedus goes to go back to sleep, and then it suffocates him. So then Norman Reedus like finally gets out. You think he died, and then he gets out of it, and then he goes and checks security camera because he thinks his buddy did it, and he goes and checks the security camera, and like he's like standing over Norman Reedus, facing a different direction, holding a box cutter, and you can see he's like talking to someone, and that person's not there. And then Norman Reedus like realizes, and like that's the thing that makes him go nuts. So then the two of them are like chasing each other. Yeah. This movie is 90% chasing.
Oh, weird.
It's like him chasing him through like the compound.
And chasing then, who? Norman Reedus is chasing Digimon?
Yeah.
Digimon's chasing. Oh, okay.
Because Digimon's like looking through the entire thing, and then he gets back, and then Norman Reedus is chasing him, and then it's like just a lot of chasing.
Weird.
But it's like super well acted. The entire thing, it's like very just.
Was Norman Reedus good in it?
Yeah, he's really good at it.
That's good.
He's great. Like, and I'm always like kind of on.
I don't know.
I don't know if he's a great actor or if he's just.
I think he's just
good at playing himself.
I also think he's been typecast for a few things too.
Yeah, I'd say he's not typecast. He's like he's like mostly interesting.
Yeah,
Digimon is definitely. I wouldn't say carries, but like he's great in that.
Yeah.
But then the twist at the end is like, he kills Norman Reedus. He like injects him with morphine when they're fighting, because Norman Reedus has a gun. He like found a gun on like a dead officer somewhere, and then he opens all the bunkers or the little sleeping pods eventually. Oh, that definitely got picked up. And his wife is in one of them. So it's like that's why he was sort of being so secretive. It was because like he knew that his wife was there, but he didn't tell Norman Reedus that.
Right.
So anyway. Yeah, it was fine.
That was the twist?
That was the twist.
Because you assume that she's dead.
You assume that she's dead because there's even like he has a picture of it and it says dead on it.
Right.
So like they're even telling you that she's dead. And he's like talking to her.
How do you know that
dead.
She's not actually dead though?
But that's the thing. It's like you don't.
Because
until
like,
the very
you could
end.
be imagining that though.
No, because it's like there's like 50 people come out.
And she's one of them.
And she's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and she didn't even seem to know that he was like the maintenance guy.
Oh.
So she just like wakes up and she goes, "Oh, you're here."
Weird.
Yeah. He has like a beard.
That's so weird. So what a weird movie.
Yeah, it was a very strange movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it, but
it's got 12%.
Yeah, oh yeah. And you can tell it's like the set kind of looks a little Like,
Oh, 34%. No, wait, that's a different movie.
it definitely. It sounds it's gonna sound super mean.
17, shit.
But it almost is like a college, like a student film
Weird.
in a weird way. And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's
No,
like,
yeah, I know the aesthetic type thing.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
anyway, that was Air.
Do you want to read some of the reviews?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's only gotten like 12 reviews.
Because when did it come out? It was like
2015.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's only got 12 reviews, but there's 976 audience, like an audience score.
oof.
So it's like a lot of audience.
Yeah, and only
But
12
only,
like
12
critics.
Yeah. If an apocalypse ever does occur, one hopes that whenever survivors are left, we'll have a better material to draw from when they make the inevitable films about it.
Oh.
So just, it wasn't interesting.
Oh, this one I agree with. I didn't hate it and I didn't love it. Just an indie film that attempts to explore an interesting concept and with actual exploring.
Yeah.
That's the bit that I liked. I thought the concept was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
it
air
was
runs out?
fine. What have you watched?
I watched Pacific Rim recently, and then I watched I rented something. I don't remember what it was. It was on Cineplex. Let me just go look. But like Pacific Rim, I watched again, and that movie is so cheesy
Yeah.
and amazing at the same time. And I don't know how it manages to like toe the line of being like absurd in some of the lines and dialogue, but then at the same time, just like the music and it's amazing. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, that movie's sick.
it's so sick.
It's like he wanted to make like a almost like what's that? Shit. Neon Genesis. Evangelion Neon Genesis, is that what it's called?
What?
It's like you wanted to make one of those.
What is that?
That's that anime where it's like the mechs
yeah.
and the aliens come down or something, and they're called like angels, or I think, or I've only seen like one
I've
episode.
literally no idea.
But I don't know if that's related, but that's always what I thought it was, like
Oh.
him trying to make his own version of it.
Well, that's the thing, is that it feels like a Guillermo del Toro movie. And
Yeah.
that's what I really liked about it, because there's like a certain aesthetic and certain like dialogue choices and direction and everything about it. And I think I just liked the fact that compared to the second one, like the like Jaegers are like they seem industrial.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
everything about them is like slow, and they kind of have that like very mechanical.
Yeah, when they swing their arms,
It's like a slow swing. It's not like it'd be like how you thought a giant robot would swing
Sure.
a punch. But the second one, they're all like very fast moving, and I think the idea is that they just sort of develop technology, maybe. But like the second one's not nearly as good. The first one just has that like cool, like new, exciting type monster movie, even though it's really not. It's just like Godzilla. But I don't know. There's something about it. I think there's some bits you sort of pick up on where like I didn't really pay attention to the fact that they were building a wall, or that they
yeah.
actually build a wall.
He's like they're in the middle of finishing it or something in one of the
They're
areas.
finishing it in like Hong Kong or something like that.
Yeah, and it just
but they've
gets-
done it in Australia and all these other places. And then the monsters like rip through it within 30
It's
seconds.
like my favorite part of that movie is like where they're standing watching the TV, and like it just walks through the wall and he goes, "What the fuck are we doing this for?"
Yeah,
or something. He
yeah,
like
yeah.
yells something.
There's the dude. There's like a couple weird like cameos in this movie. Where like there was one. What was the movie or show with Jim Belushi?
I was gonna say it's like the brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law to Jim Belushi in that is
What's his
in
name?
it,
Drew?
And he's like no, and he's like comically weird looking.
Yes.
And he like sticks out like a sore thumb in this movie. It's so weird. So he's in it briefly, like very briefly. Charlie Day's a weird cast
Yeah, it is a weird
person in
cast.
this, and like
Even like the guy that he's with, like this other scientist guy, I was never really liked.
Charlie Hunnam is much more animated than he ever is in any movie he's ever been in now.
Yeah. Andy, that's his name.
Andy, yeah. So I really liked that movie. I also watched Edge of Tomorrow,
Sick.
which
Nice.
might be like top 5 science fiction movie for
Sweet.
me. It's so sick. Everything about it. The
I
fact
just-
that also Tom Cruise may have been stuck in a time loop for years,
Yeah.
like potentially years, that he like memorizes absolutely everything about everything. And then because there's one bit in it where they're at this, like there's a helicopter and they like make it through this like trailer park and they steal a vehicle and then they end up at this like barn and then there's a helicopter and they're going to take the helicopter to where this like whatever is this like the head alien thing. I forgot what they called it, the Omega or something like that.
Sure.
And he's like kind of stalling, like he's clearly stalling. He's like making coffee and shit. And she's like, what the fuck is your problem? Like we have to go. And he's kind of like, well, we'll have some coffee or something. And then she's like, no, tell me, like, what do you know? Like, have you done this before?
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, there's a blanket over there for you. And also I found the coffee. And like, he just knows where things are. And at this point, you kind of think that maybe he has never made it this far.
Oh.
And then he kind of goes, yeah. And he's like, we've never made it past this point. You die and I make it away. Or I die and you get in the helicopter, but we never make it together. And he's like, he's like trying to convince her not to take the helicopter, and she just does. And eventually she dies. And the whole movie is sort of like, there's this like cool bit where it is just like a ridiculous, the amount of times he repeats things is unfathomable. Like you just don't know. Like you have no idea how many times he's done anything, because it's so well like acted and written and directed that like you just get the idea that yeah, he just knows everything about every scenario and nothing's gonna work.
Yeah, right.
And eventually it turns out that like the Omega like tricks them into thinking it's one place, but it's actually in another place. And the only reason he figures that out is by like doing a different thing a couple of times, which is like kind of the funny thing. Like he's supposed to steal this like one instrument that this other guy, the scientist, was working on, that he can like stab himself with, and it's supposed to tell him where the thing with the same wavelength is hiding. And when he goes into the general's office, he already knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Like he already is kind of like, yeah, she's going to come in and give you a briefing and she's forgotten this thing. And then you're going to say that to her. And then you're going to try and get me in the safe. And I never convince you to tell me what's in the safe or to get the thing in the safe. And it, like he's clearly done this scenario a whole bunch of times. So you sort of start to think like, what hasn't he tried?
Yeah, right.
Like nothing. He hasn't not tried anything. Like all he has is time. So
Yeah.
like it's like,
Because if something doesn't work, then he just tries it again, or tries
and
a
like
different
slightly
thing.
different thing.
Yeah.
And it sort of feels like a video game, like where you get stuck on a boss and
And
you
you're
just
like,
keep
okay,
trying
well,
it.
I'll
Yeah,
try
yeah.
this next time.
So he eventually gets to a point where he loses his power because like the thing is like, okay, like he had the blood, basically like a forced blood transfusion with one of these aliens, and that's how he's able to have this power. But if he gets like another blood transfusion from like a human, then he loses it. So he eventually loses it, and that's when he eventually like figures out how to like get to the Omega and then kill it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that movie is so well acted and
Yes.
like so interesting because it's like Groundhog Day on like crack. Like it's just like so insane. And the fact I love those types of alien movies like that and like District 9. I just
Oblivion.
watched, yeah, Oblivion's another one.
Oblivion
It's not
I
really
always
an
liked.
alien movie though.
That one's what? Sorry.
It's not really an alien movie.
It kind of is, because it's like the things are from space.
What things?
At the end of it, the orb
remember
things. Remember, like then they take Tom Cruise, or he like goes in that ship, and he like goes inside of it.
Yeah, I don't remember now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
that's
can't
like the very end of it. I love
maybe.
that movie.
That, and then I watched Battle of Los Angeles like recently.
Really?
That movie is horseshit. That movie is so bad. It's not even like you know, like with some military movies, they're like, yeah, we're the military. Fuck yeah.
Yes.
We got all this shit. Like Transformers does that to maybe like an extreme. And part of that is just like how Michael Bay gets a lot of the military stuff for free. And that's part of the agreement. Yeah. But because of that, it's like there's things where you're like, okay, that sounds legit, or that seems right, or there's like it fits with that. But Battle of Los Angeles doesn't. It just seems like people wearing like military outfits. Like a lot of the guys, it's clearly like like it's too big or it's too small. Like it looks funny sitting on them, and it just doesn't. Look believable enough.
The one that always comes to mind is like Aaron Eckhart's helmet's too big, and it always seems to like pivot around his head.
The chin strap is sitting on his chin, so it looks like a ball sack sitting outside.
Yeah, because it's doing the thing where it pushes it forward.
Yeah, it's really weird, and the dialogue in that movie is terrible, just really bad. What's the woman that's in all the Fast and Furious movies? Gina
Rodriguez.
Yeah, she's in it, and her dialogue is
Michelle Rodriguez,
and it's terrible. All of her dialogue is so bad. And it was like one of those things where I was like watching it, being like, I don't remember the last time I watched this. I thought it was cool, and then I was watching it, going like, this is bad, but I don't want to finish watching it.
I think she's
typecast,
very typecast, but I think she does that well. Like, I think she's only really good at like playing character that you like to hate kind of thing.
No, maybe not that, but I think I've seen her in other stuff, and she's more interesting. This just seemed like she was like another military person, but her lines were like much more like hoorah type thing. Yeah. It's like,
I mean, even in Lost, like she's a cop.
She in Lost?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, for a long time. But yeah, it's sort of a similar thing. It's like she's kind of typecasted in that too.
Yeah, that movie is so bad, and like I would watch. That's the thing, is like you should watch it. Just the aliens aren't good, and they're not interesting, and they kind of have like the only interesting is the kind of the concept that they have like different levels. Like there's like almost like there's the Marine version where these guys are just soldiers and they're just like foot soldiers, and then there's kind of like the more tentacly ones, and then there's like there's different levels, and you're like, okay, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But they don't look different enough. So when you see them on screen and they're getting shot at or they're shooting, you're just like, I don't know which one is which. Like they're just all aliens. That's just aliens.
See, that's like, what's the point then?
Yeah, you put all this effort into differentiating them, but then you show them long enough to make them interesting.
For you to be like, oh, that's the, high up one.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're all the same then. There's no differentiation. Whatever.
But yeah, so I watched that. Yeah, I don't know. I've mostly like on a kick. I've just been watching along with this like series.
Sure.
And they've been doing like apocalypse movies, so that was like the last one I think was Edge of Tomorrow, and then I just watched Battle of Los Angeles on my own.
Because what are we calling this? This is like a quarantine in review kind of thing.
What's that?
I said, what are we calling this? Like quarantine in review, almost.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know if we really
like consumables or something like
that. Something like that.
I think it is just Twin Peaks though. Like we're just.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not changing anything else. Like
yeah, shut the fuck up.
Just keep it the same. But I'm saying like, yeah, the format is more just we're just talking about what we've consumed during quarantine. I finished Last of Us 2.
Nice.
Fuck man, it's like you finish it and then it's like
that's one you shouldn't spoil.
Yeah. The few days later I was like, man, I feel like shitty.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was just like, it'd be like any kind of hard movie or TV series. It's like it's not easy to get through.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really good. I still think it's like I was telling you before, like if the first one is like a 10 out of 10, this one's like 9.5 maybe. But I feel like my opinion's even changing where I think it's maybe equal.
Right.
because I like the first one so much, but like this one
Now
was
that it's sort of
great.
like settling, like
Yeah.
you sort of like had time to digest it.
And I've listened to like a couple other things, like people talking about it and reading articles, what people think about it, and maybe that's like even influencing
Right.
more of what I think. But I did
Because you're sort of appreciating it more because of like something somebody said about it.
yeah, and you go, fuck yeah, I remember that part. Like
Right.
that's great. Oh man, we watched all of Lost. Actually, now that we're talking about it, with Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So I only really remember watching like, because we watched it like live.
came
Is
out,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. But I only really remember like
I only remember bits and pieces of it.
like maybe up to season 2, maybe season 3. There was like bits of season 3 that I remember, but I only really like vividly remember season 1, parts of season 2, and then like the end of season 3.
What's the Australian guy's name with the
Desmond.
Desmond.
He's not even Australian. I kept thinking when he came on, I was like, oh, it's the Aussie guy. Like that's great. And then it's like, no, he's from like Glasgow or something.
Oh.
He's like Scottish. And I was
I
like,
just assumed
what?
because he was like a sailor.
Yeah, because he's on a boat for like most of it.
Yeah.
Fuck man, that show is so sick. It's like the entire thing. It gets so weird, and then like the acting is great, and the what's his face Sawyer has like the best character arc of the entire show.
Yeah.
Jack is kind of the same, and then the last season I think they go, oh, we actually need to like
What's Evangeline Lilly's character's name?
Kate.
Is she a good actor?
I thought she was good in that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know she's in like Ant-Man now too, and it's like I think I only saw the first one. I don't think I saw the other one.
And who's the guy with the others? Ben?
Yeah.
And then who's the blonde that's with?
Oh shit.
I remember liking her. She was good.
Yeah, what the fuck was her
She
name?
flip-flopped her character.
Yeah, because she was like with the others, and she was like their doctor.
She wasn't. Yeah.
And like then they kind of kidnapped Jack because they realized like they needed him.
Yeah.
Because like she couldn't do the stuff and whatever. Like, hold on, I'm trying to look up the fucking name. I kind of hated John Locke through the entire thing. It's like the first season, you're like, why is this guy
such a big
so
deal.
up himself? Yeah, and then you're like,
then you
oh,
find
he
out
has
that
like
he was,
massive like superiority complex.
But also because he was in a wheelchair.
Yes, yeah, and it's like fleshed out because he was eventually in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
God, now I can't like find her fucking name. Juliet.
Right. Yeah. But Sawyer was in an episode of Community.
Oh yeah.
He's the like Dark Ranger or something.
Yeah.
They call him, and he's supposed to be like a more handsome version of Jeff.
Yeah, and it's funny because like
He's
he
so
is.
sick.
He's very very handsome.
He's like network TV handsome.
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great in like the entire series. It's so good. It's like it's so funny. Like you forget how weird it gets, and like it's campy, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like an endearing way, because it's like they have to do like earthquake bits, and it's just very obvious that it's like the camera's just shaking back and forth, and they're just like, ah.
It's like plane crashes and people shake,
and people are just like,
and shit.
oh no, we're in a plane crash.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of stuff, but then it's just so redeemable, I guess. Like it's just the acting's so good in it, the dialogue is so good, like the flashbacks, you sort of get into like a rhythm of getting excited for what, you know, when it's like, oh, it's going to be a Jack flashback, so you like see more of his stuff, or you see how they cross over or whatever. Like, and the ending I thought was great. Like people always fucking shit on that too, but
because they have to go back to the island.
Well, that's even like not even the ending.
They go to,
That's
a
like
church or something, and
yeah, that's it. So they go to the church, and like, or Jack like wakes up in the church, and like his dad's there, and they walk through the doors, and like everybody's sitting there, and
is he supposed to be dead the whole time?
not the whole time, but it's like it's supposed to be like they eventually die. So like everybody dies when they die, and then because they're so connected by being on that island, they've like met up in this church. The church is supposed to be like this like metaphor for them meeting up in not like the afterlife, but before they go to the afterlife kind of thing. Does that make sense? Almost like if it was like not purgatory, but if there was something in between earth and like heaven or something. Yeah. So it's like, because you see some of the, he's like laying one of the final scenes before he like wakes up in the church. He's laying in the bamboo forest, and he's like looking up, and you see the plane, because some of them get on a plane and fly out and leave. So like those people, he dies, because then John goes like, oh, we've been waiting for you, or whatever. It's like, good to see you or something. And it's like, because a whole bunch of them continued having their life and then died. Right. But he died super early. Like he would have died then, and everybody else continued living.
Then why would they say...
Because he's been dead for so long. So they were like, oh, we missed you. We've been waiting to get to this point.
When they have been dead before that?
Well, because like...
if they're waiting for him, they would have died before him.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, even... Yeah, I guess. But like, he had to find them, right? So he had to find them in this church. So he didn't even know the church was there until like... Right. Everybody then is dead, so and then he gets to meet up with them, because then he's just like dead.
Times, and then he just took his time getting there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I remember being shit on.
Yes,
when it came out, like that, the series finale.
Which is funny, because if you read reviews now, it's like people going, "Yeah, no, it's not bad." Okay. Like it's like, well, it's fine. But when it happened, we were like, that was cool. I like that. And then we like ended up watching like a couple of videos on it. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you about the Warzone stuff? I just don't want to start with it, because I feel like it's such like a niche thing. It's like nobody really plays it. Especially you, like you don't play it. Cameron hasn't been on in a while. Like I'm literally just playing solos all the time, because like I don't have anybody to play with.
And just multiplayer.
Yeah, but that's only to like grind guns, and I'm usually doing that by myself. So like I've been doing like a lot of solos, and like I think I scare the crap out of Murph all the time. Oh, because like it's so much like a horror game when you play solos, because like people just like jump out of nowhere. And or they're like stalking you. Oh fuck! And I look down, and Murphy's like ears are back, and she's like looking at me. Look, oh, sorry, not you. Anyways, there was these like teasers that got released, so they were like building up to the season 5, because it's like most of these battle royales where they have like different seasons. It's like Overwatch when they had like all these different like ARG things where it's in-game stuff. So they have like these things called intel missions, which kind of tell you more about what's going on. So these 3 streamers got 3 different videos. One of them there's 2 of them that I like watched most of their videos and stuff. And the one teaser was like it's from inside of a train, because like you're right, like they had added all these like train tracks and shit. So it's like, okay, yeah, that one is fine. Like it's gonna be like a train or something. And then the second one was from inside the stadium. And so you're watching, and it's like, oh, that's what the inside looks like. There's like bar stools and shit. And all of a sudden it just like blows up. So the video is like you're watching, kind of going like, oh, like I wonder if it got nuked or bombed or something like that. And then the third one is from inside the destroyed stadium, and then like a helicopter lands. So you don't really know what's going on. But it's kind of done in like a cool way, but all of the comments are like, fix your cheating system first.
Oh god.
But it's true, like unless you have like crossplay off, because like I play on PS4. If you want to play, my thing is beef squatch. Like 2 T's.
Put it in like the description or something.
Beef squatch, and then it's really like Sasquatch but beef. And then it's got 2 T's. And like I have crossplay off, and it's like, if you don't, it's like mostly people hacking. That's fucking brutal. Sucks, yeah. So I don't have any issue, but I have 1 win. So if you're going to play with me, know that I don't have that many wins. Yeah, but it's cool. I like the teasing stuff, like having new information on what's going to happen, and they're going to finally change the map because it's been the same for a while. And It'll be cool to kind of like them doing it in game like that, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like sending some of these like big name people stuff, because like you don't see that very often. Where, but yeah, no, I'm excited about
But to like
it.
have them as like the reveal too.
Yeah, because they don't know what's going on. They just get sent this stuff.
Yeah.
But I've also been watching those like vlogs for the NBA.
Yeah, right.
The like inside the bubble.
Oh, that's the other thing. We watched the MJ doc too.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
sick.
sick. Yeah, we can talk about that almost on its own episode.
Probably.
But yeah, the inside the bubble stuff is really interesting because you sort of get an idea of like what they're doing like inside of Disney World basically. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's like they get tested all the time. Like I think it's like every day, maybe once a week. It was like every day, and then it might not be every day anymore, but it was every day for a while there. Because as much as they're like stuck inside this bubble, they're still interacting with some outside people who like work in the facilities, on the facility and stuff like that. And I was talking to my buddy, and we were kind of talking about, okay, like there's 30 teams, 31 teams, 30, whatever. And there's 24 players on a team, 22 players on a team. If that's a player getting tested every day on every single team over the course of a couple weeks,
that's an insane
amount of tests.
Yeah.
So even just for a week, that is 4,620 tests. And like, not to turn this into a political thing, but like, if they're short on tests in the States, that is an obscene waste.
Yeah.
One of the things I guess they're doing now is like they're doing pod testing. So they take like a group of people, so say like 20 people, and they test what was it? They don't test like every person in the pod, but they test each pod. And then if they get, say, people, they come back and they, like, there was some that was positive, then they test everybody inside the pod. So, like, that's what it is. So, like, if we, to save resources, we would all do, like, the spit thing.
Yeah.
But to save resources, they would just test them all at once.
Holy shit.
So they don't know if each individual has it,
they're just
but they
going,
know
like,
that
of this group, someone in here.
someone has it.
Or all of them.
So then they can go like, okay, like say if they tested these 20 pods and each pod has 20 people, that's really only one test per pod. Like, yes, you're collecting samples from 20 people inside 20 pods, but you're not testing all of those people. So then it comes back and says like, okay, like 2 pods out of the 20 have it. And then you individually test that. So you're, instead of doing, say, like, what's 20 times 20? It's 400.
I'll take your word for it.
Shaking your head over there. Instead of having, like, 400 tests, you really only have 20. And then after that, you have 40.
Sure.
So that's 60 tests versus 400, which is insane. Why would they not do that for a team? Why would they not test a team, collect all those samples all at once, then go, somebody on this team has it, test each individual player.
Well,
and then save all those individual tests for the public.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I agree with you. I think that's like an obscene amount of, like, it's just a wasteful way of doing it. Like,
yeah.
And
especially in a country that is short on tests, supposedly all the time.
Well, and we're seeing now too with the NHL, and I mean the NHL isn't being sort of as public about how they're testing people.
Yeah, I don't know. The NHL is so sketchy about that sort of stuff.
Yes,
not sketchy in the sense.
I think it's more like
sketchy.
the PA.
Sketchy
the PA.
Like they're private. Yeah.
Yes, but even just like the PLL that we've been talking about, like I think they did it maybe the best way so far that
They've been
I know.
Very upfront about it. Yeah,
they're just like, we test everybody passed. We bring them to the hotel.
Test again.
Test them all again. They have to stay quarantined until we get their results. And then if they pass, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll probably do more testing throughout the season. But like, at least that's only 2 rounds of testing,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Like, because they're all
Also,
in one
it's
area.
way less players, way less teams.
Yep.
So you're not using that much, and I'm sure that they, in some capacity, would do something similar where they're probably testing everybody together.
They're kind of in their own little cities too, it seems like. Whereas like the NBA, it's like there's just so many of them. They make up a city as themselves. Like the sheer volume of people there.
Yeah. So,
like it's insane. It's insane to even keep up with that. But that's part of the reason that people were saying like, don't even bother, just don't do it, because it's like it's just so much. And is it really worth it? Like,
do what? Sorry.
To even do the league this year, to even do it.
Well, I think that they don't have a choice. They have to, you know.
I'm sure it's like sponsors and contracts.
So much, like, oh my god, like I think like with all these people, like they're gonna get paid regardless. Like all these players get paid.
Yeah.
But it's like it's like here where if your work all of a sudden says, yeah, we're up and going, like if you don't come back, you're fired.
Yeah, you don't have a job.
Like that's how EI works. That's just how it works. Like that's so like a lot of these players are obligated to go play.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get special conditions because like they have somebody who's more susceptible to it, whatever.
Yeah, and it seems like the NHL has like some where they can exercise some right where they just don't want to play.
But owners are going to want at some point to make their money back. And they do that by television rights and broadcasts and merchandise and all this stuff. And they're not selling tickets because nobody's allowed to go watch.
Yeah.
So they have to make it back somehow. And like at some point, these stakeholders are going to want their money. And that's the reason they're playing.
Yeah.
Because enough
giant
rich people are going to go and say like, okay, now we kind of need some influx here.
Well, people that own the arenas that they're playing in, like the boxes
they're only playing
there,
in one
like
place.
But I mean, not just them. Like it's the owners of those teams or whatever. Like they have investments. I mean, teams are investments.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty fucking wild.
I'm still gonna watch.
Well, I was gonna say like Tony, like oh god,
nice.
Guy at work and I were talking about this today, and it's kind of like it's pretty wild that all of a sudden there's like sports on TV.
Yeah.
In the last like 2 weeks, things are like fired up.
Yeah. Like very, very recently.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about?
No. I think
Pushing an hour.
Again, if you want to play Warzone with me, my username is BSquatch, BEEF. No, BEEF. Yeah, that's correct.
That's that.
BEEF SQUATTCH. I am so lonely on there. It's just me, and I just play by myself. So,
yeah.
Other than that, I don't know what I'm gonna watch. I kind of have evenings to kill normally, so because like this doesn't seem like it's gonna stop anytime soon.
No,
Tenet finally got pushed back, delayed indefinitely.
Yeah,
so like,
delayed indefinitely.
I think that there won't be anything really coming out.
Dune's gonna then come out, probably not.
That might be different though because that's Warner Brothers, I think.
Yeah.
And
they might just go fuck it, put it on streaming.
They're gonna put it on HBO Max, I bet.
Ooh,
because that's their like big one, and they're like doing all these giant like movies and TV shows now. Like they're doing Justice League, the Snyder Cut. So like I wouldn't be surprised if they said no, we can do it on Dune.
Yeah,
but I don't know if they'll do Tenet because I think Christopher Nolan has enough say in a lot of those movies. I feel like he has his own private handler there. Like he gets away with so much stuff that normal directors don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, that's there's nothing really going on. So we're just gonna keep maybe just shooting the shit.
Don't know how regular we'll do this. Try and do it like every week. But this was like a good test one just to see if people are still interested in hearing from us.
Yeah.
And like, just getting in front of the mics again, I guess. But yeah, give us a follow at Twin Speaks Pod on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at KidCombo_. Andrew's at Andemonium. Toss us a follow. Tell us what you're watching.
Tell us what you want us to talk about. too. We'll watch something. If there's a show, TV, or movie
game.
or game you want us to play.
Whatever.
We got nothing but time.
Cool. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm always letting everyone down. I'm always letting